At number 5, I have the Pocket Rocket defending her 100-meter title, in the process claiming her 5th title. I've said it before and I've said it again, and I'll say it again. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, the greatest 100-meter athlete we've ever seen. Her longevity, her consistency is without comparison. No one matches her. To be honest, and she didn't need a title in Oregon to be crowned the greatest. But in my book, when you look at the 4 Olympic medals back to back in 2008 and 2012, to combine with that bronze medal in Rio, silver in Tokyo last year, and her dominance at the World Championship, the argument is settled a long time now. And what Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce did to defend her title is to just stunt on those who really thought she wasn't the GOAT. And she is the GOAT. There's no question about it. I don't want to hear it. If you have something else to say, I'll put it on screen. But it's very hard for me to think that anybody can put together that kind of longevity, the winning, the dominance. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce for me. And by the way, that kind of silver medal in the 200 meters is just bonus upon that. She's just at 35 years old, nobody in that kind of category. She's unlike others we've seen. So carry on, Shelly. Number 5 performance for me. So yeah, thanks again. Make sure you put in the comment section your top 5 performances. If you agree with me, if you don't agree with me, let's have it out here tonight. I want to thank everybody who's been visiting the channel in the last few weeks, and I've been getting a lot of comments. We try to respond to them. There's a lot of them sometimes on videos, and I don't often get back to your comments, but I really appreciate you supporting the channel. And yeah, and so this is your time. If you're here, shout out to you. All right. Shericka Jackson is my number 5 pick. Look, let's go to that. Number 4, rather. At number 4, we have Shericka Jackson. So in some quarters, her performances might be considered her performance at 21:45 might be considered the performance of the meet. It depends on where you are on this. It's truly amazing, just outside the world record at 21:34. But in my estimation, I think it's only a matter of time before that world record goes. And why am I saying this? Let me contextualize this a little bit. You have to think, Jackson, 21:45 after full rounds in the 100 meters and the 200 meters. If you go back also to the race, secondly, if you go back to the race, and you look at the first couple strides out, maybe on a full third stride out, she looks as if there was a slight stumble there. Nothing significant, but it may have cost her a little time. And then third, at 10:41 on the last 100 meters, it tells you everything you need. That's proper speed endurance. And so to get to that world record, which is out there, the adjustment quite possibly needs to take place on the curve. But if we're being fair, if she had gotten a wind anywhere around 1.5 to the legal limit of 2.0, then she probably would have broken the record. Who knows? She could have gone 21:31, 21:33, somewhere around there. But it didn't happen. But that was a fantastic performance. And I think let me know if you think with fresher legs, right conditions, if Jackson will break the world record. It's important for us, but that's a big performance there. So Shericka Jackson. Also, I want to know where you guys are joining me from. Post in the comments where you're in the chat where you're joining me from, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Lots of content on Sports Talk Tech. We're here for you. We cover all sort of sports, focusing on a little bit of track and field now. But if you want your fix of football, cricket, you name it, we'll get it to you. A lot of sports explainers. We do we try to step out of the box, try to integrate things that you may want to know, and things you've thought about but never really gotten a full explanation. That's the kind of stuff that we're working on here on the channel, and lots more to come in the coming months. All right, number 3. If you look behind me, I want to highlight the pole vault here, and it brings me to none other than the man from Sweden, Mondo Duplantis. In a championships where world records are scarce, how fitting it was for Mondo to close out the Oregon 2022 World Championships with a new world record. You have to think, going to 6 meters 21, it's just amazing to watch the 21-year-old Swede rewrite what's possible right in front of our eyes. I mean, if you're a big fan of the sport, if you go back all the way to the great Bukka, you would say to yourself, there would never be an athlete anywhere close to him. And what Mondo has done over these last few years is just truly amazing. It's not a hyperbole to say it's amazing. He's just on a different level. And the question is, can we get to 630? Is 630 possible? But thinking about what Duplantis has done, right? So he's improved his own world record that he set indoor. And it's 5 times now that Mondo has broken the world record. And actually, it's the first time the record has been broken outdoors since Bukka did it in Italy all the way back in 1994. So I want you to comment down below if you thought this was a big performance. Because the thing about doing a world record like this, especially in competition, is that you have to really secure the gold medal first. And so he did. And you have to think about hoping that you don't need too many jumps in order to get there. And Mondo, he waited his time, and he did. And he went all the way up to 621, and he destroyed the field. And so long may it continue. I'd like to see 630. That's way out there. I don't know if 630 is possible outdoors. I think he might be able to do that indoors, but we'll see. Thanks again for joining us. I see some new people on the live, so let us know where you're coming from. We're covering the top 5 performances from the World Championships. My own interpretation of the top 5 performances, not using the World Athletics scoring table or anything. It's just the way it impacted me, and I want you to tell me, when you think about this past World Championships, what was happening for you? How did you feel about it? And what are some performances that resonated with you? It's very difficult to narrow down a top 5, but I'm sticking my neck out here and doing it. And so I've already talked about the great Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce at number 5 for me. At number 4, I have Shericka Jackson with that amazing 21:45. Then at number 3, Mondo Duplantis, breaking the world record, going 6 meters 21 in the pole vault. Perhaps this next performance would have been the greatest performance for me at the World Championships, and probably should have been, but I have it at number 2, and I'm talking about Sydney McLaughlin breaking our own world record, smashing our own world record, going sub 51 seconds to run an amazing 50.6 seconds over 400-meter hurdles. Oh, Sydney, they probably should change the American national anthem and include you in it. It is ridiculous what Sydney McLaughlin is doing. She's destroying her own world records. She's putting us in another... she's making us reconsider what's possible. In fact, the way Sydney has been going, there's been calls by certain sections in the coaching fraternity and people who have been following the sport for a long time about whether we should raise the hurdle heights in the 400-meter hurdles for women. That's for another conversation. But look, what Sydney did, not only to do it, but she made the 3rd and 2nd fastest runners of all time, Mohammed and Femke Bol, look extremely ordinary there. And so I really don't know where McLaughlin can go, how fast she can go. I mean, if you run 50-68, you say, can she go much faster? I mean, the conditions were great for running. As we know, that's a good track. A lot of impact from the crowd and so on home soil. There's pressures there, but there's also some support. And so I'm not quite sure how fast Sydney can go, but the world record is already out there. And, that's for a new generation of athletes to think through what's possible. So, let me know what your thoughts on Sydney McLaughlin's world record, if you enjoyed it, if you thought it was a performance of the games, because in a way it may have been, but, I have it at number 2. And the reason why I have it at number 2 is because the top performance for me is a performance that no one saw coming. I don't believe there's anyone who would have said that this performance would happen. You may have had this person to win because of some early performances this year and potentially a first round run. But if you told me that you thought that Toby Aumsan, the Nigerian, would have obliterated the world record in the 100-meter hurdles, then I would call you bluff on this. I actually don't think anybody saw this coming. And so to run 12.4 is one thing, and she really did that at first, but then to go from 12.4 to 12.12 in the semifinals, and then to come back and run 12.06, over the limit with the wind reading, it's just truly amazing. You already know we have a video out on Toby, on the channel already. Nigeria, I want you to wave your flag. If you're from Nigeria and listening to the live, put your flag there, because this is a performance. She's winning. Not only you think about it, how fast she's running, what she's doing. It was a fantastic race. Brittany Anderson in for second in the final with Camacho Quinn. In the semifinals, Toby's beating the world record holder. And to push the world record this far is something spectacular, right? The world record was around for a very long time, and Kendra came and she took it down. And now to move from 12.21 to 12.12, I don't even know what's possible. A lot of people are thinking is sub 12 possible. We'll have to see. The conditions are really good. A lot of people are running fast times, but one thing we know about records, they're meant to be broken, but we also know they generally inspire other athletes as well. So that's the standard now. So if you go back, if you're Brittany Anderson, if you're Camacho Quinn, if you're Nia Ali, if you're Megan Tapper, whoever you are, I'm missing a lot of names here, but you say to yourself, what am I going to do now? Because the World Championships is coming up again next year in Budapest, and I have to get to that level. And maybe, we might be seeing a future generation of new athletes taking over the hurdles. It's one of the most exciting events in track and field, and I look forward to it. But yeah, let me know. Let me know where you're joining from. Yeah. And so, so that's my top 5 performance here in Nigeria that's my number 1 Nigeria stand-up. So let me tell. So let's do it again. So as I said on this live, I wanted to make sure that we contextualize some of the performances. I didn't do it by scoring tables. I know the track and field people who are hardcore would be looking at the scoring tables, and there's probably a person out here that I didn't put in my top 5 that maybe would have scored the highest on a scoring table. Maybe Noah Lyles would, or some McLaughlin is up there too. But anyway, so as I said before, my top 5 was, we went with Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce at number 5, because what the pocket rocket was able to do is just truly amazing. Winning 2 titles again after this is her second title after having a child. Defending that title she did in Doha, and you couple all of that together, she was just out there showing off. showing off. Like what we need is a Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce is just I am the greatest on top of it. That's all we need. We don't need anybody else to say anything. We need a Fraser-Pryce shirt that says the greatest, because she is. Then, for me, Jackson was in fourth place on my top 5. Very close. Some top end speed that I've never really seen before. Fantastic last 100 meters, and it's possible that the world record is only a matter of time with good conditions. Then we had to think about we didn't get a lot of world records at this World Championship, so I went next to the world record that finished off the championships, and from the great Mondo Duplantis, and then another world record, Sydney McLaughlin destroying everybody in the women's 400 meter hurdles, going 50.68 seconds. And the performance that I don't think we expected to get is from the Nigerian Toby Aumsan. And for me, I rank that as the number one performance because of all the things that, we probably knew Sydney was going to break the world record. She did it earlier this year. We know that there's a lot of things in her legs, but, how many people were out there saying that Camacha Quinn wouldn't win, or, maybe Brittany Anderson would have, stepped up given her season. And here goes the Lacina Golding Clark pupil. And yeah. So again, thanks for joining us. Don't forget to hit the like button. If it's your first time on the channel, welcome. If you're here again, welcome to hit that subscribe button, especially if you want to know when we go live. I would also hit the notification bell because it's the greatest bell on YouTube. I've never seen anything better on YouTube. Whenever your favorite channels go live or if they have a new video, you get notified, right? And that's what we want. And I want to hear your top 5. So don't forget to give me your top 5 in the chat. We'll feature it. We'll discuss. This is also a live for you. It's not only me, and I appreciate you. So let me know if you agree with my top 5. Yeah. So I like to call this section my bonus round, right? I'm here to give you a bonus, and there's some other people and some other performances that at these World Championships that I really was impressed by. I'm impressed by a lot of things. I mean, athletics is just a superb sport, but you have to shout out people for doing things, and sometimes the field events don't get the kind of love that they should. And so I want to say that honorable mention to the man from Poland, Pawel Fadjek, winning his 5th World Championship title in the men's hammer throw. I mean, that's true dominance for the big man. That's 5 in a row. It doesn't really you can't really walk around and not say this guy's dominant. I think he would be disappointed not to have an Olympic gold medal, but, he's an all-time great here, and shout out to that guy. I also want to shift it back again and go back to the track. And so let me know if you like Fadjek as well, but I think I've always said it, and we know it a lot. The country of Bahamas has done so much for track and field in terms of producing world-class athletes year after year, all over, the golden generation. And for their size, they outrank many in terms of, for population, the kind of medals that they would have won at the international stage. And so I want to shout out Shaunae Miller-Uibo. What Shaunae did to win this World Championship and to couple that with the last 2 Olympic titles is, for me, to solidify her status as the greatest 400-meter woman we've ever seen. And I'll unpack that a little bit. But Shaunae did something special here, because a lot of people will say, well, we could see it coming. But yeah, that's true. So Shaunae has won the titles at every age group that World Athletics has, from World Youth to World Junior or under 20, you want to call it. She's won both at the senior level. She's won indoors and outdoors, Olympics and World Championship titles. And so the only thing that Shaunae doesn't have is the world record, and I don't think it's her fault, right? Because the world record is out there, and probably shouldn't be the world record. I shouldn't, I often might get in trouble for saying that. But, Miller-Uibo, dominant, the best to do it. I used to think I think she's now past Perec for sure. And what would be brilliant is for Miller-Uibo to stick around and continue to run hard. Obviously, there's Paulina, there's others to come. But if Sydney McLaughlin were to come down from the 400-meter hurdles and join Shaunae in the 400-meter flat, we might be able to get something special here. It would be amazing to see these people fighting it out in years to come. But I'm not quite sure if we'll ever see that happen. We know Sydney might switch down, but maybe by the time she decides to go to the flat 4, Shaunae may have called it time on that. But we'll see. She's still young, but shout out to Shaunae Miller-Uibo. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us. If it's your first time, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I'm only telling you this because I want you to be a part of this community, and I want you to know when we drop videos and when we go live, you get notified. And so we're doing our top 5. I've already gone through my top 5 from the World Championships, which was Fraser-Pryce, Jackson, Duplantis, McLaughlin, and Toby Amundsen. And now I'm going through some other kind of performances that I just want to highlight some athletes that did a splendid job over the last week or so of the last 10 days or so of the World Championship. So Fadjek, Miller-Uibo. I want to talk about another big performance, and that's the man Allison Dos Santos. Truly dominant this year. He owned the 400-meter hurdles this year. There's a lot of talk coming into this championship about the rivalry between Rai Benjamin and Karsten Warholm. We know Warholm had a hamstring injury earlier this year. There's no way we could have envisioned Warholm really challenging, given the kind of levels we saw from Dos Santos early season, and also even when Rai ran recently before. And so Dos Santos to come and do that big performance, it just goes to show, he's third on the all-time list. This is an event where, let's face it, if you can't run 4-6, you're not looking anywhere close to medals, when, maybe a low 4-7. And it's just ridiculous to think about this. And so these guys are doing a fantastic job here. So shout out to Dos Santos for doing this. I also want to bring up the contribution of an athlete that we would have called it quits at this championship. I've sang our praises on many occasions on different platforms. And I want to say that the career of Allyson Felix is one that we must respect, admire. Her dedication to the sport of track and field, on the track and off the track, is truly amazing. And so, in a way, you'd think the United States worked it out really well to include Allison going out in fine style. Felix would have gotten that bronze medal in the mix 4x4. Then she ran a leg on the heats of the 4x4 women. And as you know, the United States secured the gold medal. So she goes out as a true legend of the sport. 31 medals at major championships, Olympics and World Championships combined. More Olympic medals than any other American. She's something special. She's been around for many years. The longevity there, the versatility to be able to run from 4-2-1. And so Felix is fitting, and a lot of what she's done, she's also transcended the sports, but she's done a lot of work in terms of gender equity, equal pay, fighting the big shoe companies, an advocate for women who have children in the sport and return to the sport, not for them to lose the contracts that they would have gotten. So to have a child is not considered a defect, And that's how, if we're being honest with ourselves, the sport was operating. And so the kind of work she's done, sitting in front of the US Congress, a lot of advocacy. Felix is known beyond the track. And in fact, for a lot of people who don't follow track and field, they would have known her for the kind of work that she's doing in that area. Now, a lot of advice she's giving back to a lot of nurturing the development of a lot of athletes, including Sydney McLaughlin. And with her own company now, with that shoe line, she's focusing on women. And so I want to shout out to Allison, because I think she's not only given us great performance over the years, but she's done something to make the sport better. And that's a legacy that, if anything else, might live on even better than the performances that she delivered on the track. And heck, those performances are just on another planet. When you think about the relay medals and the medaling over 200 and all of that stuff at the early part, and the battles with Veronica Campbell-Brown and you name it. So with Miller-Uibo in later years too. But to say something that her work off the track is is so impactful as well. Hats off to Allyson Felix. And, let's hope we see another person that comes around like that. I want to thank everybody again for joining us on the live tonight. If it's your first time, I welcome you. If you're here before, thanks again. The show today is all about the top 5 performances at the World Championships. I went through them earlier. But I also, I'm bigging up some other people, some other performances. But again, just for you, if you just come in, my top 5 is Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce at 5, Shericka Jackson, Mondo Duplantis, Sydney McLaughlin, and Toby. But, I'm shouting out people like Fadjek, Miller-Uibo, Dos Santos, and the great Allison Felix. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Notification bell does a great job on YouTube. Yeah. And shout out to Vita Coca. All the electrolytes you need. Moving from one spectacular athlete in the form of Allison Felix to another, the great Yulimar Rojas. The domination continues. I think Yulimar, we've talked about it before. It's just an amazing athlete. And she's all the world titles since, when is it, 2017? I need to fact check that, but I think she's of all the titles since then. She has the world records both indoor and outdoor. And to be honest, I know no athlete goes out there to say, I'm going to come second. But you do the triple jump, you're basically only going for the silver medal because Yulimar is that good. And so Rojas, again, spectacular. I thought Ricketts early on in that long jump came up and, did something. Then Yulimar responded, and she's basically a 15-meter jumper trying to go to 16 meters, which would be ridiculous. But if anybody can do it, it would be Yulimar. And so I think she gives great pride to Venezuela. And sticking with the field events, because I like it, got to go to the big guy himself. At 6'7", Ryan Crouser, the greatest. I was so in tune. I don't know how many of you are fans of the shot put. If you're fans of the shot put shot put in the chat. Put shot put in the chat. But Crouser is something special, because Joe Kovacs was back this year and he went ahead. And as soon as he did that, people are like, is he going to lose his title tonight? That's one of those things we often talked about. And then he steps up and he goes again. These guys are making 22 meters look ordinary. 23 meters, is soon the standard. So Crouser on home soil, he delivered. I think American 1-2-3. So I thought that was a really fantastic performance. Didn't make my top 5, but you have to shout that out. And so if we get off the field and we're going to go back onto the track, I want to talk about women's 800 meters. Because that, again, was something special. Athing Mu backs up her Olympic title with what I think is a great effort to hold off Hutchinson. You know, I thought about the race. I've watched it a couple of times again, and I wondered if Keely had attacked differently, maybe she could have put a little bit more pressure on that thing. But I think Hutchinson was in really good form this year. Some early season injuries, but she came back and she really pushed the Olympic champion. And what Mu was able to do to win on home soil, 20 years old, I think these two will be at it for years to come. And I don't know where the world record might look, and I don't like to do this because world records are sometimes difficult to, and I don't want to put pressure on anybody, but the rival will be there. And certainly I know Athing has to come back next year because she barely held off Hutchinson to win that title. And so it's important that, you know, she'll think about this and come back. But that was a fantastic performance. So thanks again for joining us on the channel tonight. It's your live too, so I want to hear your top 5. You know, let me know who your top 5 performances from the World Championships, or your top 1. What was the best performance for you? I gave you my top 5, and I'm also mentioning what I think about our honorable mentions. So let me know, you know, in the comment section, your top 5 performances. All right, so I think the last one I want to touch on in terms of another honorable mention, unless you guys have something else to tell me, is the performance of Noah Lyles. So Noah, 19.31, third fastest of all time now. New national record for the United States, beating the old record set by Michael Johnson at the Atlanta Olympic Games in 1996. If the track and field heads are here, they would probably put that in the World Athletics scoring table and tell me that this is probably the performance of the meet. But that was truly a big-time race there, completing another American 1-2-3, you know, securing back their dominance at that level, winning 1-2-3 in the 100, 1-2-3 in the 200, taking the 400 meters in Mike Norman. But Lyles, he ran really hard. He said it. We saw it. You know, we expected I expected a little bit more competition from Knighton, but is a kid, so there's not much there. But the question I have for you is, because I heard Michael Johnson said it and some others in the space saying, can Noah Lyles rather break Usain Bolt's world record? So immediately when I heard that, I was like, breaks. 1931, third fastest of all times. Pretty quick, but it's not 1919. You know, where is he going to get that extra meter and change, that 2 meters extra? Where is he going to get that from? That was my question. So let me know if you think if Noah Lyles has a chance of breaking that world record, because I think Johnson is saying in 2 years he could attack the world record. And I mean, I don't really know. I mean, that's up there, you know, that's up there. Yeah, thanks Dean the Dream for joining us. Yeah, you know, we appreciate you. Appreciate everybody just joining us on the live. You know, there's a lot of good stuff that we covered so far. Top 5 performances. I gave you my top 5. I'm also hitting the honorable mentions at this stage, but yeah, Noah Lyles, can he approach Usain Bolt's world record? You know, because every time someone runs fast, the immediate step is to say, is Bolt's record gonna go? I don't think so. I would like to be proven wrong. Will someone come around and break Usain Bolt's world record? Sure. I mean, records are there to be broken. Maybe Bolt should have run 18.9. You know, I've said this before. But Lyles, 1931 is pretty quick. He run really hard. Currently, I'm not seeing where he's gonna get that extra speed to go, to make up that time. But you can work on speed endurance. Maybe he has to work on a little bit more in the first part of the race. But if I'm being honest, and if I'm saying the person I think that could potentially break that world record if he continues to develop and there's no distractions and nothing goes wrong, then it's probably maybe Knighton. I say, yeah, he's still young, Space. Thanks for joining us, Space. Noah is still young. He has to, yeah, definitely there's time to break the world record. I think so that's, and I don't know, I'm not saying he can't break the world record. When you look and you say, is it possible? You just don't see it. So like from a technical standpoint, or what does he need to do to get to that level? I'm not quite sure. I think Michael Johnson is saying that maybe in another couple of years, maybe not next year in Budapest, but maybe in Paris, he might be there to break it. So I think it's we'll see. I mean, that's not an easy record to break, right? And it's on a fresh night, I remember Johan Blake ran a 1926 on a one-off. 1919 is out there, but yes, he is. He's 25, if I'm not mistaken. So there is some time, but also, as we know, as you get, unless you're Fraser-Pryce or on a few exceptional athletes, once you start to get up there, sometimes, the speed doesn't stay there, right? And he's running very fast as a youngster coming up as well. But we'll see. I mean, I know there's going to be intense rivalry, but over the next few years, I think DeGrasse might be back. Hopefully next year. You have Knighton, you have others. You need that kind of level of competition of maybe a number of guys getting themselves in the 19.5 space, 19.6 space consistently for people to start worrying, right? Like if you're a known, as you say, well, if those guys are coming, then I have to work extremely harder. But yeah, but if you, when do you think he could break it, Space? You think he's still young? I think in a year or two. How much longer you need, and what exactly you think he has to work on to break it? Because the conditions have to be right for sure, but we're talking about something that's way out there as well. So yeah. But thanks for the comment. We appreciate it. I want to talk about something controversial that's been doing the rounds, and that's Michael Johnson. So Michael Johnson, if you're following the space, and I have a couple of his tweets on the screen right now, he was concerned about the times that he saw in the women's 100-meter hurdles. Now he's getting all sort of hate mail. He's getting a lot of hits from particularly people from the African continent because they think he's targeting Toby Amundsen. But in this tweet, he's saying that he's world records broken by 0.08. He's complaining about not only that. I don't think the way he's saying it, and he came back afterwards to say he's not particularly targeting the world record holder, but he's looking at all these women at that particular time running fast, a lot of national records, a lot of personal bests, and so he's making an argument that there's something wrong with the clock. And for many, that looks like he's been bitter or he's particularly targeting others. So he's even using the British athlete who mentioned at the time that she felt like the race was running slow. But oftentimes athletes are running and they don't think they're running pretty fast, and then they end up running fast. They may just be running really relaxed. So thoughts on Michael Johnson and the clock situation there in Oregon. I have no reason to believe that there was a problem with the clock. I mean, you have to think that the clock would have been malfunctioning both in the semifinals and again in the finals. So, so I don't really know how to think about it. I think everything is fine. I haven't seen anything from World Athletics at this moment, but But I don't think there's anything wrong with the clock. We just had a lot of good performances. So I want you to comment down below. Let me know what you think about the Michael Johnson's world thoughts on the world record set by Aumsan. Yeah. All right. So Space again, thanks again for contributing. He's like, I think Michael Johnson was looking at it from a technical point of view. It's questionable. Yeah, that's what he's saying, that because a lot of people were running PB. So you get that, and it makes sense. But so the question then is, okay, semifinals, fine, right? But everybody came back and ran pretty fast again in the finals, right? Like, so was the clock malfunctioning all the way after the other races that were on the track as well? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you were to give me this on paper and I didn't see anything, I probably would say, yeah, that's kind of unusual for 12 people to be setting personal bests and 5 national records. So yeah, it could make sense, right? Like you could see it, but I'm not quite sure what kind of clock malfunction would be happening, right? At this point, things are really done well at the World Championships. I'm not saying they can't have a malfunction because we've had these things before, but I'm not quite sure. Yeah. Thanks again for joining us on the live. This is your live, so I want to hear from you. I appreciate the comments that are coming through. And let me know where you're joining me from as well. I want to know if you're joining me from anywhere. Just let me know. Put your flag in the chat. But I also want to know what was your top 5 performance, because I haven't. We're not getting that. I gave you mine. Let me know what's your top 5, or if you don't have a top 5, what was the most impressive performance at the World Championship, or what happened at the World Championship that you liked before, that really resonated with you? That would be something that I'm interesting to know. But yeah, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And yeah, on this channel we do a lot of sports explainers as well. So I'm here to think about it. Oh yeah, Space had an earlier comment that we didn't feature about the yeah, that was on the Noah Niles. He needs competition, maybe 2 years. Yeah, I guess a lot of people are saying that at the same time. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Brazil. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, I like it. I like it. We're in Brazil. I mean, that's really good. I mean, you must be proud of Allison Dos Santos winning the 400-meter hurdles. So yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. Dos Santos, that's your guy. I thought he had a spectacular season this year. And if you really was following the sport in general, I'm not talking you, Spris, but everybody, you would have had that guy as the odds-on favorite for the World Championships. Yeah. So yeah. All right, so yeah, this has been fun, guys. I mean, I we do a lot on this channel, and I wanted to come out here and share my top 5 with you. I have again, let me just recap it for those who are just joining. I didn't use the World Athletics scoring table. That is, you can go with that. But for me, the dominance of Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce to defend her title. 5 titles now in 100 meters. Everything she did in this championships just was this extra on top of her greatness. But her performance was number 5 for me. Jackson was great at number 4. 21:45, you can't really argue with that. Getting close to that Flojo world record. And Mondo Duplantis, that guy, he never ceases to amaze you. He's the ultimate showman. And can we get to 6 meters 30? That's the question I have. And then Sydney McLaughlin doing things that only she can. 50:68. She's not normal. She's up there. And then, Toby Aumsan, for me, because we didn't see it coming, and it was spectacular, regardless of what they have to say. Uh so Space has his top five. He has Shericka Jackson. Aumsan, Dos Santos, Lyles, and Shelly-Ann. No, I mean I really can't even argue with that Space. I think that's a really good look. But although I would want to know your thoughts on Sydney McLaughlin, because that was a big performance there. No one that to me is like when Varham went sub 4-6 last year. I remember many years ago. Well, it's not that long ago, but in 2008, Athing Mu commentating on US television. When Bolt ran that 960 in the finals, and he was beating his chest across the line. He's saying the guys went into video game times, and I think to channel Athing Mu here, seriously, it's video games time as well for McLaughlin. But this is a good list. Jackson, excellent performance. Allison Dos Santos, Lyles. Yeah, I mean, I probably should have had Lyles up there, third on the all-time list. It's not, to go 1930. That's ridiculous. That's up there. 1931 to beat a record like that. I remember when Bolt ran the first time he broke Michael Johnson record, he had to run really hard, and he come back the next year and destroyed his own world record. And so to go into that kind of level, it takes something special there. So yeah, pretty good. Yeah. What about other people? If you're joining us for the first time, yeah. I see. Yeah, it was incredible. You weren't really surprised about her performance. Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. We saw. Yeah, I don't know if I saw. I agree. I expected her to win. I thought there was going to be a world record because, we saw an early run in Tennessee and there was some malfunctioning with the structure of the hurdles. And then she went back and she broke the world record at the US trials. And so you think that she's in excellent shape and she would come here and do it. But did I think sub 51? No, I can't say I saw that. Maybe a 51 low, but going on the 51 seconds, I didn't see. Yeah, but that was great. I think McLaughlin. There's a lot of people talking about McLaughlin since we're on the topic that she should start to think about running the flat. We've heard that Bobby Kersey, our coach, has been thinking about that. When exactly, I don't know. What's left to do in the sport for McLaughlin in terms of the 400 meters? Well, she probably would like to defend that Olympic title. I would say if she was going to go flat 4, maybe do it after the Paris Olympics. So you go to Budapest next year, defend your 400-meter title, and then 400-meter hurdle title there, and then go back and defend the Olympic title in Paris, and then go flat 400. You think she could do a sub 50? Huh. I don't know. Sub 50 is out there. So now you're saying moving from 50.6 to under 50 seconds. That is, it could, I don't know. I mean, if that's the case, then maybe I'm going to join the camp for raising the hurdles, but she's the only one going there. So maybe that's not really fair, but yeah. We'll see. I mean, if we get a sub 50 from McLaughlin Space, then I truly think that everything we've seen in track and field, this would have been worth it. You're very sure. You're very sure. Yeah. No, fingers crossed, right? I mean, it would be great to see. It would be great to see. She's in excellent shape if she comes back next year and does the business there. And I think it would be worth it. But yeah, I like it. So again, everyone, it's been great. I've covered my top 5. I've mentioned some important people who've been in the sport. Other things that I thought was great performances. McLaughlin, not McLaughlin. She was in my top 5, but Miller-Uibo, Fadjek, Lyles, Allison, Felix. I think the World Championships served up a lot of good stuff, and it's important, for the sport. I think track and field is better for it. The only thing I always think about is that more people don't know about track and field, so I'm happy to see people who like track and field here. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share this live with other people, watch it on the replay. I appreciate you joining us tonight. It was been, if you're getting value from this content, I have a number of videos on the channel. Some of them are explainer videos on track and field, others on other sports. I aim to deliver for you guys, and I want you guys to be part of this community, part of the Sports Talk Tech family. And you are all part of the family, but I want you to make sure that you don't forget that when I come live or when we drop a new video. So it's been great fun. We hope to see you another time. And thanks for joining us tonight. And stay safe out there. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, everyone.